Hi, everybody. Just give you a couple minutes to find us. Tonight, we're going to chat about tack room inventory and just checking through your tack, making sure that everything is in good working order and preparing for show season now rather than when you're at the show in terms of anything that needs to, be checked on for wear and tear, anything that needs a little bit of TLC cleaning up or just straight up being replaced. So if you haven't been here before, then welcome. All of you who are coming back and joining us again, welcome. My name is Lindsay. This is Jess. We are out of London, Ontario, and we coach reiners. We train and coach reiners to up-level their skills, and we also have some professional grade equipment that we sell as well as custom saddles. So if you are looking for any of the tack items that we are talking about tonight in our live, you can check out our tack shop. If you're looking for a custom saddle, you can send us a message. We also have a really great online coaching program where we are providing video lessons and audio lessons and all of the support that you need to stay working and keep your momentum up and your progress up, even when you're not in a lesson or a clinic. You can ask me about any of those things. Happy to tell you about any of those things. As far as tonight goes, we're talking about doing a tack room inventory and just checking up on all of your things. So when I used to work for a lesson barn where we were doing group lessons all day, every day, we would do a safety check. We would do a safety check for sure every January, and then we would do a safety check again before summer camp started. And it was a really valuable thing to go through and do because sometimes you see something that's starting to wear a little bit and you think, oh yeah, I'll get to that. Setting a date and actually going through and being like, no, I'm not gonna keep putting this off. I'm just gonna repair it before it breaks while I'm riding is really valuable, especially if you're running a lesson program. But it's really valuable if you are, just an individual getting ready for show season. So we wanted to talk today about some of the things that you should be checking, and this list can get pretty long, but we wanted to start out with some of the things that are, the most important things to check as far as safety goes. Do you want to start with some of your top picks for checking over now in order to stay safe?
I think for me the biggest one is like your saddles and your bridles. Your saddles, I do it every once in a while, but I'll flip my saddles upside down. I go through, especially my older saddles. I have some saddles that are pretty old and we use them pretty hard. And I'll go through all the riggings on them. Where the leather comes around the D-rings, how that's all tied in underneath. Give them a good clean, and I put oil up in there. Guy that repairs my saddles won't believe me when I say I oil anything. I send them some pretty dry stuff every once in a while, or a lot of times. And I also, a lot of people will come in and they don't check the adjustments on their stirrups, and they don't check the holes on that. And when you're checking the holes on your fenders, if you do it now and they need to be repaired, they can just put a new one on there. It's pretty easy. There's nothing worse than being at a horse show or getting ready to go show. And, all of a sudden the holes just aren't sitting right or something, if you got an older saddle. Definitely your latigos and your off-bullet billet straps. And check them, not even just where they wrap around. Those get sweat on, and then they've dried all winter. So if they need some oil, heat some oil up, get it warm, get them on there. But also check where they tie into the D-rings, right at the very top where it is touching the D-ring and it's pulling down. That's where they're going to get dry, and that's where they're going to tear from. I think in my bridles, I think a lot of people clean them, but they don't clean like where the leather loops across the buckle, in that little spot right there, and where it loops on the bridle. You know, those will get dry from that steel rubbing against it all the time, and it'll get worn out. You know, it's one thing to clean it where you see it, but look at it and clean it where you don't see it. I think that's more important, because that's where it's gonna, you know, go. And like for people's show head stalls, or some people in the working head stalls, I don't have any Chicago screws on mine, but if you do have Chicago screws, take the screw apart. They disintegrate. I mean, they're steel. They, you know, especially for us, we have really tough sulfur here in London. You know, it'll eat those things right out. And, you know, you look at them and say, well, they're still there, both pieces are there, but are they working right, and have they got some beat up parts to them? So much easier to change them now before you get to the horse show. And, you know, I've seen people, they're trying to get the Chicago screw off, and it just breaks. You know, they hit it with a screwdriver, or it just won't open. You know, do it now where you got the time. We use water loops on our reins. You know, I'm always checking the lacing on them.
Which is just a leather tie, if you don't know the term water loop. It's just
It's a piece of leather that loops through where the bit meets up, and then just a piece of leather string that goes through there. And, you know, I replace them quite often. I mean, I buy them by the bundles. And not that every one of my bridles has a new one on them, but I'll just repair them every once in a while. There's nothing, you know, again, if you don't use a bridle very often, it sits there, it gets dry. If it's still good life to it, or still a lot of body to it, but it isn't very maybe soft or whatever, you know, you can try heating up some oil and dipping it in there. You know, just put some regular oil, either nuke it or put it on the stove, and then just dip it in, and you might get it back to life. Or you just buy you buy the lacing, and you don't worry about it. You know, I think those are big things when they've been sitting for the winter. You know, don't forget to do your work tack too, but also do your show stuff.
That's what I was gonna say, was check your show stuff, because a lot of times the show stuff goes away for the winter, goes away for a few months, and then we always see it in the warm-up pen at the horse shows. The first horse show is always a mess of, like, you know, people having to adjust and readjust, or just scrap the idea of the show head stall and put the working one back on because the Chicago screws have disintegrated, or they can't find a concho, or, you know, something came loose. Or
and don't forget your conchos by the bit, but also don't forget if they have the conchos right underneath the buckle by their eye, don't forget those conchos. And if you take them out, make sure you oil in there really well, because that's when they fall out at quite often. And as much as you know, McDreamy made it famous at the World Show for dropping her bridle, you don't want that to happen. Or Miss Dreamy.
Miss Dreamy. McDreamy's from Grey's Anatomy.
Well, there is a horse called McDreamy too, but it doesn't matter.
I think of Grey's Anatomy when
I'm sure Dan Huss, as much as it made him internet famous, would have just preferred his bridle stay on.
Preferred to have his bridle stay on for that ride.
But you know, keep it on there. And go through everything. Go through the stuff you can't see. Those conchos that you don't see up by their eye are so important.
We talked about saddle pads and cinches in the last couple of lives. So I just wanted to talk about saddle pads for a second, and just remind everybody to actually have a look at your saddle pad and make sure that it's in good repair, that it's not coming apart at the seams. If you have a saddle pad that's stitched together, that it's not coming apart at the seams, especially the part right up by the withers. There's usually like a cutout at the withers, and then like that little piece in front a lot of times can get ripped, and then
dry rots.
Yeah, or dried out or cracked. Definitely check on that. Check on the wear leathers on the side of your saddle pad. Check on any of the seams, and just check on the integrity of the material. Like, does it need to be washed? Or is the integrity of the material, like, is it just breaking down? Is it, you know, dried up, or just aged? Is it just not going to be as soft anymore? I can't believe how many people I see at horse shows that are throwing on a dirty old, like,
I was gonna say, especially on old wool pads that they put them away when they were dirty, so now they're rock hard.
Doesn't even provide any cushion. I think that, check your saddle pads for sure. Check your saddle pads.
And your
We
cinch
talked
is
about
like,
head stalls.
I
We
think,
didn't totally
well,
talk about reins. I think we should just mention that quickly. Check your reins too.
yeah, check your whole rein, and again, if they're a little hard, fix them now. The big thing is like it's March 1st tomorrow.
Yep.
Tomorrow's March 1st. First show for us is in a couple weeks. First show for a lot of people, is only a month or two away for Canada. I mean, but check them now. So if you need to fix anything or order any tack from my wife, then, you got
Plug.
time to do it.
Yeah. Can't get you a saddle in a couple weeks, but some of the other stuff might be able to do.
Well, we have some saddles we can sell.
That's right. We do have a couple of saddles in stock.
Don't sell yourself short. We can do this.
That's right. Okay, so
I think another one too, not only the clean part, if you bought a new show head stall, make sure it fits.
yeah,
Every time somebody buys a new show head stall, I can't tell you how many we've had to jimmy rig at the horse show.
yeah. If you need to punch holes or if you need to put a little piece of elastic around something so it doesn't flop or whatever, you should be testing that out now.
Yeah, because if it needs altered, you can do it now. You can't do it the day of the show.
You don't want to be doing it when you're trying to fit into your chaps.
Check your chaps.
Check
make
your
sure
chaps,
they fit.
make sure they still fit. Check your shirt,
Your
make
belt.
sure it still fits. Your belt, whatever, your show jeans, whatever else you got, make sure that your own clothing still fits because you might have some time to replace it. I'm not going to say you might have some time to lose the winter weight. I'm just going to say you might have time to
Well, maybe they're
replace
too
those.
big on people too.
Yeah, that's true. That could happen.
Never had that problem.
Okay, some of the other things that we said we wanted to talk about. Just briefly, the things that you use to store your equipment. So if you have a saddle bag or if you have a bridle bag or if you have like a saddle rack, a lot of people use like saddle racks, bridle racks, like any of the things that you use at the horse show to store your tack or hang your tack, check on that stuff. Those saddle racks, those little saddle racks that like fold out, those get beat up during a show season. We see them.
Well, it's always the
come
same
out.
thing. It's that little screw in the front of them where they hinge from.
Yeah. Check
Some
on
of the time
those.
those
Make
pop
sure
out.
everything is in good shape because everybody's always nervous at the first show and you might as well eliminate some of these variables now, I think.
Be prepared.
Yeah. If you guys have any questions about any of these things, you can just go ahead and drop them in the comments. And if you're watching the replay, you can still drop them in the comments and we'll come back and we'll check up on those. The other thing that we wanted to just mention briefly, and it's not really your tack room, but your truck and trailer, right?
Truck and trailer, I am a big one on this one. I have a 18-year-old trailer now. And it's still in good working order because every year at this time of the year I bring it over. Even if you're not in the weight class and everything where you need a safety, just do it. Get your lights looked after. Get your brakes worked after. Make sure it's working properly. Make sure your doors are working properly. Latches, all the stuff that your first show, if it can go wrong, it will. Do it now while you got the time. If there's a weld that needs to be taken care of, or if you have a wood floor trailer,
Or just clean it out. If it hasn't been
well, that too.
cleaned
There's
out.
nothing worse.
I mean,
Somebody goes to open it like the week of the horse show and it's moldy in the tack room or anything
yeah,
like
there's
that.
something left in there from last year.
And one thing I think though, especially right now, because I'm so good at paperwork, is make sure your paperwork's in order. Get your memberships. Get your
Passports.
competition license, your own passports.
Yeah.
Make sure your credit cards won't be expired.
Get your credit cards ready.
Make sure they're good and it
Yeah.
it works in the U.S. Make sure all the things. And it seems like silly stuff now, but all that paper, it just takes away the stress. Do it now. If you know where you're going to be showing, do the memberships or at least have all the paperwork so it's all printed out. Competition licenses and registration papers, make sure they're in order. And we do when we travel, we keep Panamine in case horses get sick, but Butte, make sure your meds are in order. Whether that be liniments, poultices, bandages, anything, if your vet needs to order it or you need to go up to the tack store and buy it, do it now so that you're good for the year. Look in those bottles. Make sure, if you're using a Meprazole, it's not expired or, I'm not saying I've ever done this, but you open some type of liniment and it's moldy or something like that, just check it out now.
Yeah.
Get it in order now.
Just do an inventory. Just take a pen and paper, go through all your stuff, see what you need to get, what you need to replace, what things you need to clean. Take care of it now. Conchos, if you need to order a concho or something, do it now.
I think a box of stuff too that a lot of people forget about is have a little toolbox full of extra conchos, extra lacing for your reins, extra pins for your back numbers.
Yeah, duct tape.
Yeah, duct tape, white tape if you're using polo wraps. Go through that now. If the pins are rusted and stuff, go to the dollar store. Get them now. Now's a perfect time to do it and be, so that you're prepared. We haul a lot of non-pros, so we always make sure we have tons of that stuff because there's always a few, and we're not naming names.
We're not?
No, we're not naming names.
I thought you were going to go ahead and name some names. Okay. I feel like they're probably going to just self-identify here anyways.
I'm sure some of them know who we're
talking
talking
to
about.
Me.
But have that little toolbox full of those little things that you might forget. What if I need, all that kind of stuff. And I think that's so important so that when you go to that first horse show, you concentrate on showing horses, not on, oh my gosh, I got to run to the hardware store. I got to run up wherever.
Or my new show pad isn't big enough to cover my saddle pad
or it looks ugly.
Yeah.
My trainer doesn't like pink. Just saying, there's a few of those.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
That's a legitimate concern of mine.
Is pink?
A few people this year have already informed me that as I show their horses, they want me to wear pink saddle pads.
It's 2023. Should do it.
Do I look like the year is going to make a difference in how I go?
Okay, I hope that this has been helpful for you.
Rule books. That's another one we keep forgetting.
Oh yeah, rule books.
Have your rule books and read it. Know the rules.
Yeah.
Get your rule books in that thing now. They're in there. They're good. Way to go. Anything else?
No, I think that's good. I think those are the things, like safety stuff for sure. Just go through and check all your safety stuff. It's always a good thing to do. January 1st or whenever, when you're getting ready to go show, go through all your working equipment, go through all your show equipment, go through all the things that you need for the first show, whether it's your truck and trailer or your paperwork or your rule book or whatever, and just get it under control, at least get the ball rolling now. I think the other thing that we didn't really say is have a look at when your first show is. And look at the calendar and plan backwards because those shows can sneak up on you kind of quick. So have a look at those things and then you can plan your rides, you can plan your inventory and how quickly you need to replace your things or, can you get them repaired in that time or whatever so that you're all ready to go.
You know one that I forgot?
What?
And this is from the farrier point of view.
Oh, yeah.
I always bring my shoeing equipment.
Yeah.
But if your horse has specialty shoes, have your farrier make up another set so that if you get to the horse show and you spring a shoe, you're not coming over. And I don't mind
really
tacking
smart.
anything off, but
That's really smart, dear.
And I always pack the shoes that I have in standard shoes, a few of them. But if you have specialty shoes, have your farrier make a setup. If you have a special size or, therapeutic shoes, whatever, carry an extra set. And I know a lot of people, they don't want to spend money, and that's fine, but it's a lot cheaper having them where we can just tack them on than trying to build something at the show. And if you go to the show farriers, or if somebody comes over to my stalls, I will gladly tack on a shoe if you need it. But if I have to build some, I don't have time. You know, we don't have time. We don't have the.
Don't have the full setup.
They're not set
You
up
don't.
right.
Yeah.
You know, just have that stuff available. Anything special for your horse, carry spares. If I have, even if it's one of my own horse and I have a special trailer on a sliding plate or a special front shoe, I always make sure I have, even myself, I make sure I have a spare one just in case. You never know. You know, just stuff like that.
Awesome. You know what we should have done tonight before we started? Was some shout outs.
Okay. Shout out to Lindsay Hayes Kofel.
We can if we want.
All right.
I guess. No, what I meant was just we had a couple of lessons right before we came on live here tonight, and we had Everly, who has ridden with us for almost 4 years now. A lot of you know Everly and have followed her story. She had a lung transplant 2.5 years ago now. Is that how long it's been?
Has it been that long?
Yeah, it's been a while. Anyways, Everly comes and rides with us on Mondays, and we had to reschedule because of the ice storm that we had yesterday, but she came out yesterday, and she came out today, sorry, instead of yesterday, and she actually got to ride Milo, which is my horse, which is the one that she named. Some of you have followed along and seen Everly, and when she first started riding with us, we called her out and had her name this colt who was born on my birthday, and she came out and hadn't had a whole lot of exposure to horses, but just was a huge horse lover. We have a really, really cute picture of her petting the foal's nose, and he's like, must be 24 hours old, and you're holding him still so that she can pet him, and she got to ride him tonight, which I thought was really cool. And then when that lesson finished, the other youth rider in that lesson, you had her trim a horse. Had her trim the horse that she'd been riding. Horse needed a little trim.
16-year-old girl, and she got her
She
done.
got right under there and trimmed her up.
Done, huh?
Yeah, so shout out to Everly, shout out to Quinn. And then in this last lesson that we just had, Lisa had her mom, who's a dressage rider, get on her horse at the end of her lesson just to walk him out. And you showed her how to spin.
She spun, she loped, she
spun,
stopped.
she loped in both directions. Yeah. So shout out to Lisa. And shout out to you. You kind of made all that happen for everybody. You rode Milo, got him nice and quiet, had him all saddled up so Everly could ride him. Showed Quinn how to trim. Peer pressured Rachel into doing some stuff she didn't want to do, but she had a good time. It was fun. It was a fun night. The other thing we said we were going to do tonight was just give you a quick breakdown of the construction that we have going on in the barn. So when we talk about Tack Room and Tack Room Inventory, we are, some of you have seen that we're building in our arena barn, and we're actually building a little tack shop and viewing area in here, and enclosed.
Shout out to Dawn.
Shout out to Dawn Pletch. Yeah, every live should start out to Dawn Pletch for all of his help. And then enclosed tack area. So right now where our tack is, it's on saddle racks, but it's just out in the open, in our arena barn, but it's kind of in the open, and this is going to allow us to have it all enclosed and organized, and we're gonna have some drop down doors in there that will be lockable, and it's gonna be pretty neat.
So if anybody's free on Sunday,
if anybody's
and wants
handy,
to
yeah, and strong, has a little free
me and
time,
Dawn would really appreciate it.
Yeah, so let's show them just very quickly, because I said we would show you guys what we're doing here. I'm just gonna have to carry this for a second. Do you want to be the tour guide? Do you want to be like Vanna White over here? No? Okay, so right now we have, I know that that Facebook actually turns this around, so it's going to look a little bit backwards to you guys. But right now we have these posts all the way across dividing our arena from our barn area. These panels are all going to be taken down, and then that's going to be pretty much a solid wall. We'll still have an entrance here and have an entrance on that side. And then across here is going to be some windows. So we'll have a little viewing area there. And then all of this area through here, which is our existing cross tie area. Sorry that it's so dark. That's actually all going to come down, and we'll have an enclosed room out here across with, like I said, the windows across the front, and then it'll be 12 by 30 something feet for the enclosed viewing area and tack room. So that whole back wall will be a nice spot for all the tack that we're now selling and the saddles. And then on the wall, on the back wall of that, we're going to have like where our cross ties are right now, cross tie stalls are right now. We're going to have, it's going to almost look like garage doors framed in, and then tack storage in there with the drop down doors. And then we'll still have an alleyway here, and then we'll actually have the cross ties will actually be opposite from where they are now. So we're just changing that around a little bit so that we have a little bit more enclosed space for our tack that right now is out in the open right now. And then a spot for the tack that we're selling. So we're pretty excited about that. It's going to be pretty cool.
Will be. When we get it all done, everybody have to stop over.
Yeah. Or come and help on the weekends. Okay, that's all we got. Thanks for joining us tonight. Like I said, if you have any questions about the tack items that we have for sale, the online program, or any of our clinics that are coming up, everything is full right now for participants, but you're more than welcome to come and audit. And we do try to make it fun for auditors, where you can actually come out into the arena and kind of participate when the riders are doing the patterns or partial patterns. And you're obviously welcome to join us for our potluck lunches and just be asking questions and part of the clinic. Okay, good night. Have a good night, you guys. Hope you found some things that were helpful in that Tack Room Inventory breakdown.
Have a good night.